What up? What up? It's Inside the Game, episode 278 here on the National Soccer Network. Nate Wangler and Ryan Glinsky. Ryan, what's up?
What's going on? How we doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm having a blast here today. It's gonna be a fun, exciting show. I'm hyped.
I hear you guys are getting a hot dog roller in the studio. Is this
Damn straight.
public news? Am I allowed to talk about this? Okay.
Uh,
Where?
You can't.
what?
You can't just like say it and then be like, "Is this public news? Am I allowed to say?"
I
You
guess,
can't-
yeah.
that is not how you
more
do
of a-
that.
I guess that was more of a ask for forgiveness as opposed to ask for permission, but it's out there now. So now we all
So
know.
yeah, let me just spill the news about
Um,
everything. Wait, am I
yeah.
allowed to say that? Like, is that okay? Come on, man.
Too
Oh,
late.
my-
Too late. So now they know. So is that going to be? So that's going to be a side hustle now at the studio. Apparently, you guys are going to be selling hot dogs on the side.
I don't know, maybe.
Do you guys have come and goes over there on that side of the state?
I don't know
Gas
what that is.
stations? You don't know? You've never been to a come and go? Really? Those places are great, man. Yeah, they got everything. I mean, they
I
got
typically don't eat gas
app-
station food like ever. So
Really?
No.
Yeah, we got to change that, man.
no,
Well, where do you-
no. I don't want to eat. I don't want to.
You were
you know-
just talking about taquitos like 5 minutes ago. What do you mean? You haven't had the ones from the gas station? You just get it warming up at your house? You gotta get
I
the
really don't
funnel
have
ones.
taquitos ever. I have just up in college. A couple people had taquitos, and I had a couple, and I thought they were good. But I don't buy taquitos ever. I don't eat gas station food. That's
Man.
horrible for you. It's
Come
trash.
on, man.
It's been sitting under a heat lamp all day. Yeah, no, I'm not eating gas station food.
Yeah, but you got to get with the poor people, man. That's what they do. Especially like those little fried funnel things they got in there. The ones
Dude,
that
just
go
buy
around and
eggs.
around
It's
at
$1.
Speedway.
It's like $1.20
well,
at Aldi's.
You know, I mean, you're on the run, man. You don't. I see. That's the thing with, especially with the driving around with the play-by-play stuff. Like if I'm out and about and I'm driving to let's say Midland, Michigan, which is
Yeah,
not
it's
that
called
far, but
a
it's 2
protein
hours,
drink
but
and a protein bar, and then you're good for like 2 hours.
we gotta. I know we don't spend a whole lot of time together. I know the show's remote every day, so I actually don't get to physically see you. But if you and I ever find ourselves on the road anywhere, we're stopping. We're stopping at a Speedway or a come and go.
Yeah, and I
we're
wouldn't.
we're
I
getting
wouldn't
you.
buy any food. I would just buy a protein bar and a
We're-
protein shake.
We're we're getting we're getting you some good gas station food. But getting into things here in hour number 1. I
Shrock
know we're
says,
gonna talk
"What's
about
up?" By
this.
the way, he's back.
Oh, he's back in.
Back.
What's up, Shrocky? Appreciate having you in.
So you're telling me
Um,
the gas station sushi isn't actually good food? Probably not. I probably wouldn't eat sushi
Oh,
from a
it's
gas
awesome.
station.
It's awesome. You always run the
Yikes.
risk.
Oh boy.
You know, on the other side, you realize what you may be getting yourself into by eating the gas station sushi. It might not settle.
Dad,
exactly
you don't
the
eat
right-
gas
you're
station
supposed-
food either.
Who doesn't?
My dad. He's
Oh,
like,
oh,
Dad,
your
he says,
dad?
Get him, Nate. Dad, you don't even eat gas station food either.
Oh, come on, Mr. Glinsky. No gas station food for him. I bet he did once upon a time. Maybe not now. Maybe he taught you not to eat gas station food, but he
No,
himself got his.
I
fill
got
once
put
upon a
off by
time.
gas station food when my old boss, when I was doing back in my blue collar days, he would always buy it for. He'd always buy like Speedway pizza, and it looked disgusting to me. I was like, I am not eating that at all. It was. I was like,
Ugh,
bro, I'm not eating that.
it's great, man.
Then
Well,
he'd get hot dogs every now and again, and I'd be like, dude, I'm not eating that either.
I promise we'll get into the soccer stuff here in a minute, but no, Meyer gas stations now make like serious food, They got like breakfast sandwiches, they got croissants, they got everything, man. It's like a whole separate cafeteria. So I'm just saying, or go to one of those trucker gas stations. Those are the places you got to go because those are actually like designed for like Iowa. Iowa had a few of those out west, if you will.
Out west.
But
Technically, you're
yeah,
out west.
but it's true. it's
So
true.
we
I
got a
didn't think
couple of
about that.
them. Fabian says, "What's up?" My dad says, "I just like Nate giving you the business." Dad, you always like when someone's like making fun of me. To be honest with you,
It's
so.
always right out of the gate because I come up with some cold open that he doesn't understand. Like the Kentucky Derby yesterday. He said the Kentucky Derby's stupid, which is
I didn't
just
say it was stupid. I
sacrilegious
said
to
the
me.
people
You
that
said it was
go
dumb.
to it don't actually care about the thing. They just care about posting it on Instagram
Yeah,
and sports
yeah,
betting.
it's an
That's what
event.
they care about. They don't
Yeah,
actually care
it's an
about the
event.
actual race itself. They just care about that they get to post about it on Instagram and tell the whole world that they went there. And then if they make money, they can tell the whole world too.
Make some
What a
money.
game
Yeah, it's a
yesterday.
cool hat.
PSG Bayern. I would agree, Fabian. We'll agree.
Yeah.
Dogging
we'll
on
get into
gas
that.
station pizza is blasphemy, bro. It's not good. It's basically cardboard. I can make my own pizza and be better. What about Wawa with the sandwiches? I don't know what that is.
Fabian's got to know some good gas station food. He's a professional eater, so my man's
He's
definitely
also like a federal government agent, so
yeah. So watch how we're talking about him. Yeah, I've been watching my tone since I heard that yesterday. Got a lot of government folks watching our show, man. This is a crowd that's I don't know if I want to be a part of.
Yeah, they might
You're gonna
tell
put me
us
in some bad spots.
yeah, they might tell us to the government. The show might be shut down for all
Yeah.
we know.
Yeah. Yep. They might come get me finally. But let's get into hour number 1 in our conversation. By the way, I just wanted to drop this in. I know we're going to talk Pistons later on. The only time an 8 seed has, or rather a 1 seed has blown a 3-1 lead, or rather an 8 seed has come back from being down 3-1. There we go. Was against the Orlando Magic when they blew a 3-1 lead against the Pistons in 2003. The Pistons were the 8 seed, came back from down 3-1 to win that series. So history is going to repeat itself, Ryan Glinsky. I just heard that one this morning. It's going to happen.
The Pistons were an 8 seed in 2003, and then they won it in 2004?
I believe so. Yeah. I mean, according to the graphic that I was reading. So apparently that's the only time. Unless I didn't read the fine print.
Because they made the Eastern Conference Finals that year because they lost to the New Jersey Nets.
Unless it was, well.
But there's got to be.
I believe.
The Pistons were. Hold on. What are the NBA standings in 2003? There's no way. They won 50 games.
Oh, they were the number 1 seed. Sorry, other way around. The Magic trailed 3-1 in the opening round. So it's literally it's they were the number 1 seed, not the 8 seed.
So
Sorry,
we're gonna make the Eastern Conference Finals and then win the NBA championship next year. Got it.
There you go. So it's history. It's history on repeat. But let's get into our first topic here in hour number 1 on the show. You and I were actually chuckling about this a little bit before we got on today. A quote from Massimiliano. Is that how you pronounce it? Allegri.
I just call him Allegri. That's all I say.
Allegri.
I don't even want to attempt to.
Okay, I think I was close, but had a good quote. Well, I guess depending on how you look at it, on Christian Pulisic. But yeah, Ryan, he had some things to say.
Yeah, basically just called him soft. I said another word, but you're like, that's oh, oops, wrong one. Hold on. I was gonna try to put it full screen here. There we go. Oh, no, we don't. There it is.
Ooh.
He's a very sensitive guy. The fact he doesn't score affects him more, which he has not scored since December 28th. He's a player who gets into tackles and struggles more. It's not great for a captain. He suffers more from this. I have to try and give the team balance. Playing without a true center forward, he struggles more. All I gotta say is this is a bad look for the U.S. men's national team. The fact that our captain, our so-called greatest player of all, Fabian, this one's for you, my man. Remember, what does everyone call Christian Pulisic? The LeBron James of soccer. Who else is soft? LeBron James. So it all makes sense now, Fabian. It all makes sense. I'm just kidding. But it all makes sense now. That's all I got to say. But no, this is a horrible look for Christian Pulisic. He's I mean, you make a whole documentary with Tim Weah or whatever it was this summer about how you're mad that everyone's like calling you guys out for not making the Gold Cup. Like, dude, you haven't earned a right to just skip a Gold Cup and whatnot. But if we just look at this guy's stats since, the amazing 2025 fall/winter season he kind of had, it was great. I mean, he's got 8 goals, 3 assists just in Serie A alone, and he scored 8 goals. But since December 28th, he has not scored a goal, and in Serie A, he's had 1 assist since then. This guy has been absolutely awful when it comes to AC Milan recently. He has been utter garbage. And that is just not what I want to see from a captain, supposedly.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, he's obviously very sensitive guy. Seems pretty damning, but I think maybe it's much less about being a big softy, and more about always being in what I like to call the Superdome, in between the ears. Uh, because the unwillingness to meet criticism head on, and we've seen this from the pressure that's been applied to him on the United States side. Because keep in mind, it is probably a lot easier, I would imagine, if you're coming up in the school of thought of a place that actually, prioritizes this game. The pressure is obviously always on, but you're dealing with a supporting cast and a surrounding cast of players to where you're always kind of on that level. There's a lot of elite around you. Whereas this is big fish, little pond when it comes to the United States and Christian Pulisic. So I feel like ever since the jump, the pressure's been on him from the US side of things. And I just think that pressure, whether it be fighting through injury, whether it be fighting through expectations that have been placed on his shoulders, whether it be from USA fans or you could say from AC Milan fans too, because keep in mind the expectations that he laid out for the club, talking about an extension, talking about if you want to keep me
Which
around
they're
for the
not even close
future.
to an agreement anymore.
Right,
It's
right,
far from what it
exactly.
used to
So
be.
and so if you're going to do all of that, I figure that is a person that is going to be more persistent and strong and, the fortitude and all those things and meeting those criticisms with results. And he has not done that in 2026. And I think we have seen obviously pressure from both sides and him just kind of fade away from it. And that's what makes it so nauseating for me as an American. And I'll watch the docu-series. I'll be the first one to pop it on and see what we got going on and what they've looked at the last 4 years, because I am interested to see what the
It's
dynamic
gonna
of
be a
this
whole
team
bunch.
is.
That's gonna be horrible. I ain't watching that. It's
It,
gonna
I
be.
mean, yeah, it's just
Everyone's so
it's
hard
funny
on
because
us. Why is everyone
well
so
the
mean? Well,
right. Well, and the previews were like, all these heroic feelings about how much it means to represent the US and the crest and all of that. And it seems hacky. And most of the comments underneath it were like all of this just to get bounced in the group stage. It's like, yeah, you better hope they do something with the World Cup. Otherwise, this docuseries is going to look very stupid. But I think he's in his head, man. And I don't know. Frankly, I don't know if anybody has figured out a way to get him out of his head. He's not a vocal leader. He's not that guy. I know there are many players before who have tried convincing him, like, hey, you have to be that guy because you have been anointed by the fans, whether here or at AC Milan, as that guy. But clearly he's not comfortable in taking that pressure on his shoulders. I think the more alarming thing, and you can call it whatever word you want to call it, but it's his unwillingness to meet the criticism. He wilts away when things get tough, and that's hard for the guy that you could say is arguably. I wouldn't even say it is arguably. He's the most talented, individually talented player that has come from the United States, but it hasn't shown. It hasn't shown in the club. It hasn't shown with the country.
the LeBron James of soccer. Someone that was nicknamed LeBron being
No,
soft. I like it.
LeBron's winning in the playoffs, so I don't know. I don't know if they played yesterday against the Hawks, but or not the Hawks.
The Rockets.
Rockets. There you go. But yeah,
I mean,
I
sure.
think it's
Enjoy a
yeah.
first round victory, LeBron. It's not like you're winning it all or anything. It's not like you're making the finals because the Spurs will take care of you real quick. No, this is a horrible look because Pulisic is our captain. He's the face of USA Soccer, whether he wants to believe it or not. It's whether he wants to accept it or not. I know Zlatan has mentioned it. It's like, dude, you've got to realize you're the face of soccer. You've got to realize it.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't think he wants the spotlight. Then he complains to everyone about, oh, everyone's so hard on me, yada yada yada. But I will say that there is. Oh, I meant to get this part out of the way. Remember when Pulisic was like, I have to have guaranteed Champions League football in order to even play on the team or
Yeah.
whatever. Well, they've completely fallen out of the title race with let's see, 4 games to go. They are 8 points off the pace. They should qualify for Champions League. I mean, they're only 6 points above Como, which shout
Yeah.
out Cesc Fabregas, by the way. Hope he becomes my manager one day. But he's gonna probably finish second through fourth because Juventus, Napoli are all around there. But
Mhm.
Pulisic had like the audacity to like put all this out there, like, I have to guarantee this. I'm an untouchable this or whatever. Dude's not untouchable at all. Like,
Yeah.
you can't, if you're to be considered an untouchable, you have to score more than one goal in 4 months or whatever it is. You've got to be able to produce, my man. It has been exactly it's been 4 months and 1 day since he scored a goal for AC Milan. You've got to produce, and if you're going to produce, at least create some assists or something, Pulisic. Like,
Mhm.
and he's still the second leading goal scorer in Serie A for the club, which is just shows how bad AC Milan really is. He still has 8 goals, and
Yeah.
Rafael Leao has 9. So it's still a horrible look. But I will say this: with the 4 games to go, we've got to hope, and in the 2 games leading up to it, Germany and Senegal, we've got to hope that Pulisic can score 1. We just have to hope he scores 1 goal, because Pulisic is the type of player, yeah, he's going to whine and complain, bitch and moan about everything. But once he sees that 1 go in the back of the net, it flips, and he's back to being Pulisic of what we saw in the fall. Like, dude was scoring a goal damn near every single game, or 2 goals damn near every single game. So if he can just, it's almost like a superstar just hitting a free throw, and they've been struggling all game. They went 0 of 8 up to this point, and then in the third quarter they hit a couple free throws, and it's like, oh my god, what just happened? Just flipped. So hopefully Pulisic sees 1 hit the back of the net, and everything kind of goes his way. And we talked about it back in the fall as well, which, timing on all of this, form heading into the World Cup is everything for this team. If we can get a player like Christian Pulisic in the best form, like he was back in the fall, if we can get him back to what he was, in these last 4 games of the season, that would be massive for the U.S.'s hopes of, getting out of. I still think they'll get out of the group. I don't have any issues about that. Even if they were to finish 3rd place, we know they're going to get the benefit of the doubt just because it's a host country. And it's after that. Is in the round of 16. Can they get through that? Can they get through the round of 32? That's what it's mainly about. But if we can get Pulisic going just a little bit right before the World Cup, it's going to go a long ways for not only our nation going forward and maybe Pulisic getting contract extensions and all that stuff. But if I'm a US, obviously I'm a US men's national team fan, but if I'm a US men's national team fan out there and my superstar and my most talented player of all time is being called this, and my captain, not a good look. That's why I still believe Tyler Adams should be the captain of this team.
Yeah. I mean, by calling him a sensitive guy, I think he's
not good.
obviously. Well, I think he's referencing just like, I mean, the fact that your performance shouldn't dictate the way that you carry yourself. And so I agree. I think this is a open the floodgates kind of situation, because he is that kind of player. He's streaky, and so if you get him into a position where he scores, we could certainly see that. But again, the hope is that he just carries himself that way regardless. Like he doesn't need results to pick his mood up. That's, at least as a captain, I think that's what certain people would expect in that spot.
Like, you never hear Tyler Adams complaining about it. You never hear Weston McKennie complaining. The only thing Weston McKennie will complain about is the fact that how he's got to earn his spot every single year after he produces every single year. And it's like, dude, I've produced for you the last 3 years, and you guys want me gone? Like, what? Like, that's just crazy to me.
Right.
But it feels like with Pulisic, and again, it's just a bad look for the nation or the national team as a whole, that your captain, your best player, is complaining. We'd never hear it from Flo. We'd never hear it from Adams. We'd never hear it from McKennie. We'd never hear it from Chris Richards. Like, I just watched something from Chris Richards, and he was on a podcast with his agent or something, and he was talking about what it was like to even leave Bayern Munich. And the agent was like, he came up to me and was like, Chris was like, I'll get some game time here and there, but I can't develop it all here because I don't get enough minutes. I want to be out. And the agent's like, for someone to say they want out of Bayern Munich is crazy, just because of the stature of the club and everything. And obviously it's worked out well for him. He worked his butt off, and he continues to play. But the fact that your captain is complaining all the time, like, a captain should just kind of lead. I shouldn't say lead in silence or lead by example, but to see the words,
example,
the words that should come out of your mouth, or someone's words that come out of your mouth to describe a captain is sensitive, that's not a good look at all. You should be, like, if you're vocal, like, be vocal as in, like, inspiring your team, pumping your team up, pumping yourself up. Not to be a sensitive guy. Like, there's a captain in France ain't doing that. A captain in England's not doing that. A captain for Spain, Brazil,
Yeah.
Argentina, they're
I
not
think
sensitive.
right. Emotional is one thing, but emotional about what? Are you emotional in the way of you're passionate about the team and moving your goals forward, or are you passionate, or the people around you, or are you passionate about just me, 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 me? You know, so that's where I think the big difference is when it comes to all of that. But I think it can be damning, but no, we need him to be at his best. We absolutely do,
So
without
So
a
that's
sliver
what
of a
I'm
doubt.
saying is the next
Yeah.
4 games, if he can just bag 1 goal, I don't even know. Let's see who they're playing in the next 4 games. Sazu, okay, they're trash. Genoa's trash. Caligari's trash. Atalanta used to be good. I don't know what they are anymore. Yeah, they're so he's playing bottom of the. He's playing out of the 3 of the last 4 games. They're bottom half of the table. There's only one that's up. That's up in 7th.
Mhm.
Christian, just score 1, my man. Just score a goal. And if he can get that,
Yeah.
Dave says Roy Keane was very sensitive. Roy Keane was just a crash out, okay? Roy Keane wasn't sensitive. He just was a crash out and then would try to hurt you, like how he broke Erling Haaland's leg, or Erling Haaland's dad's leg. He wasn't sensitive, or when he would get into it with Vieira. He wasn't sensitive. He just was a D1 crash out. That's all he was. He wasn't
I guess
anything.
you could call that sensitive. That's it. I mean,
Yeah, but we
you're
don't
pretty
see Pulisic
sensitive.
being like a hard ass or anything. Like, we
Yeah,
don't see him.
sensitive in different ways. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
we don't see him getting like pissed off. Like he's. No, Pulisic is just like,
No.
oh my god, everyone's complaining about me. Roy Keane just would go out there and handle business, and then just probably punch you.
Which-
Probably get sent off in a way. Probably just get sent
Yeah.
off, and then like who cares? So I guess you
Yeah,
could say he was sensitive.
I don't know if I want to see him running around punching people, but I mean, I guess it would almost be refreshing to see the alternative
Weah
of
did it.
what we've seen. Yeah, maybe not in a high leverage situation, but maybe someone that, and that's what I think as it's hard for Americans following this team because that's what we're used to. I feel like a lot of time, like that is the expectation. We want someone who's hard nosed, who's gonna fight, who's gonna do all those other things, and that's not who he is. And so, but I would almost, here's the thing, I would almost rather want someone that we have to pull back and like keep tabs on versus someone who's going to be the exact opposite of that, who are like continuing to like poke with the stick, be like, come on, like show us some
Show some
signs
fight.
of life.
Show some heart.
Show some fight. Show some something that just invigorates, the group of people that are trying to rally behind you, or spending $5,000 to watch this game from the third row. Give them something, So I think if anything, we asked the question about, are Americans excited for the World Cup? I would
Probably
say
not.
they are.
I would
but
say
they have expectations that they're like, unfortunately, I don't know if it's fair to expect anything from this team. It may be a group stage exit.
two
but,
things. One, we got a new follower from TikTok followed us through the live. Shout out Hello M8TY8. Appreciate the follow. But then here's one thing. If US men's national team players, Pochettino, whatever, if you guys ever see this and you guys are like, you know what, we're losing a game like 3-0 or something in the knockouts, here's what you guys do. Just start fighting people. And then the nation will get behind you. Like, sub off like Pulisic and all them, and bring in some guys who, like, dude, if they get a red card or something, dude, just start fighting them. Just start punching people. And then America will be like, whoa, I want to go to more U.S. men's national team games. I want to back this. This is what the team's doing. This is what the team's doing. We're fighting everybody. That's how you unite the United States of America, guys, especially in the sports realm. You just start fighting people. That's what you do.
Inciting violence on Inside the Game. Let's take a break.
Hey,
When
I'm
we
just
come
trying to
back,
unite
we'll
a
talk
whole
about-
nation here through soccer. That's all I'm
through
trying
violence
to do.
and soccer, but mostly violence and soccer, a little bit of soccer. But let's talk about Champions League coming up next. But FC Bayern summer soccer camps are a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, fostering football excellence across North America. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels. FC Bayern camps deliver elite training inspired by FC Bayern Munich's world-class philosophy. Select your city and start a promising soccer path. Right now, save $30 on registration using promo code BayernNSN30. Again, that's BayernNSN30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Learn more at FCBayernYouth.com.
So the dream behind Irene's was simply to be a place where the community could come and gather. This is my hometown, we're raising our family here, and we just want to be a space where people can come together as a community and share a great meal. We've got golf simulators, we got pinball, live music, trivia nights, but we also have fresh, always homemade, locally sourced food, and we serve it with a sense of Gemütlichkeit. This is a German word that conveys a sense of warmth and coziness and belonging. We're excited to show off how we're growing and that this is the place to be.
Gesundheit, and welcome back Inside the Game, episode 278 here on the National Soccer Network. Getting into our second topic here in hour number one, Champions League conversation. What a freaking ball game yesterday. 9 combined goals between PSG and Bayern Munich. Our predictions were nowhere close in terms of, I feel like, the total goal amount, but 9 of them, 5-4 the final. In that game, PSG ends up bringing it home, so they advance to the final. Arsenal taking on Atletico Madrid today.
They don't advance yet.
But Ryan, what's that?
They don't advance yet. There's still a second leg
okay.
next week.
Oh, yes. Okay. All right. But takeaways from that game yesterday.
It was fun. It was a very good game. Here's what I'll say is, for the people that are out there that say, "Oh my God, that was the greatest game of all time," this and that, guys, it was a pickup soccer game up and down the field, guys. It was not the greatest game of all time. It was fun to watch personally. It was fun to watch from a neutral perspective, but in terms of the soccer that was being played, it was just up and down the court, or up and down the field rather. It looked like a fast break time and time again. Like it was, and I did a watch party for it on TikTok, which you guys seem to really like. I don't really know if I should do that for the Arsenal game today. Just my personal preference. I don't think I should probably do that, but it was an unbelievable game. And we talked about the front threes and the wingers and everything, like Kvaratskhelia and which I finally got the correct pronunciation, by the way, yesterday. And then Dembele missed a couple of good chances. Doué was good. He missed a couple chances. And then Olise and, why am I drawing a blank on the other Bayern Munich winger? Luis Diaz, that's the other guy. But it was just all over the place. There really wasn't a ton of structure in this game. There really wasn't a ton of, discipline. It felt like everyone was just running around with their heads cut off. That's basically what it felt like. It wasn't a true structured game. And I know what everyone's going to say. Well, we went from this to the Arsenal-Atleti game today, which, by the way, Fabian thinks Arsenal will win today. Atletico has been in a losing streak. Hey, shout out Real Sociedad for beating them in the Copa del Rey. Shout out to them. Diego Simeone could not get it done yet again. But anyway, I watched the game yesterday, and I just think that they were like, let's just have fun. Let's just create a whole bunch of entertainment. Let's just get up and down the field. Like, there's no structure at all. And there was a couple people in the chat trying to tell me that Arsenal Atletico would beat this team just a simple, structural discipline. I would agree with that too, Fabio. Musiala was garbage. The one where he just like was inside the 18 and just like could have shot it and just straight up just like his controller died. That was awful. That was awful for Musiala. But I looked at the game, and I look against these two teams that are playing here today, and looking at the two games that are going to be playing here, or the two teams on the other side of things. Because everyone says the Bayern Munich PSG, is the Champions League final, and I said that too. But the more that I kind of look at both sides here, and if they're going to play that way, if Bayern Munich and PSG, whoever advances plays that way against an Arsenal and Atletico Madrid, I'm not comfortable saying that the Bayern Munich PSG is the Champions League final, because Atletico and Arsenal have quality. This isn't some Arsenal slappy thing. Don't think of that. But there is still quality on the other side. Atletico, Arsenal, there's still quality. But the difference is they're so structurally sound. That's what's nice about it. Yeah. And if I were to look from an Arsenal standpoint, they've already beat Bayern Munich this year. Everyone was talking about Arsenal's got no chance, just like my guy Fabian right now saying we got no chance. Arsenal's already beat Bayern Munich this year once. And if I look at the strengths of PSG and Bayern Munich, I'm fine with Dembele going up against a Saliba and a Gabriel. I'm fine with a Harry Kane going up against those two. I'm fine with a Jurrien Timber, if he gets back healthy in time, to go up against one of those wingers, or Nketiah going up against one of those wingers. I'm completely fine with that at all. I'm completely fine with that, because I've already seen that back four shut down those top three players. And everyone's going to be concerned about who's scoring for Arsenal. If they're that wide open, they're going to have chances. And Martinelli, who I don't like, all of a sudden, like, he only scores in the Champions League. And we're going to sit here and not think that, I don't know, Gyökeres or Eze, those guys don't have quality. Saka stinks. I would agree with that. But again, if you have so many chances, he's got quality. He's got quality. But if he's running up and down the field with so many chances like they're shown yesterday, Madueke would probably start over him anyway. But guys, I'm not comfortable saying that that's a Champions League final yet. I'm not comfortable saying that just based on what Atletico and Arsenal do structurally. And let's not forget Atletico, they got Julian Alvarez out there too, who I'm a big fan of. Hope that we could sign him one day. But I'm just saying, guys, I'm not comfortable saying that was the best game of all time and that they're going to win the Champions League, whoever wins that. Because in the end of the day, it's only one game. It's not like two. It's not like it's a best of 7. It's just one game, guys. And in the one game that I've seen already, Arsenal beat Bayern Munich. So... And people seem to forget that for whatever reason.
Yeah. I think, unlike we saw last night, I think tonight will be a much more tactically sound game. I think it'll move a lot different. Atletico,
everyone will get mad.
Arsenal, everyone will get mad. And I think that Madrid will probably do the one thing that Arsenal doesn't want them to do, which is be compact and play compact and kind of force Arsenal to come to them, which they have shown, again, as we've talked about, the versatility and the ability to switch that on and be able to do that. Just couldn't get the job done against Man City. But yeah, I would expect tonight to look just a lot different in the way the match flows versus what we saw last night against those two. Yeah, I think it was sloppy. It was up and down. I think the difference is what is conventionally pretty football, soccer, whatever the hell you want to call it. What is conventionally good versus what the entertainment value comes from, I think, are two completely different things. Because I think from an entertainment perspective, you probably could put it up there as one of the most entertaining ones of all time. I don't think people are wrong when they say that match was extremely entertaining. But was it the prettiest from a tactical perspective? No. But I mean, there's just two sides with a lot of firepower that showed it off in that match yesterday. And I know, like, some people's big gripe is that there's not a lot of scoring. Well, show them that match, show them that match from 24 hours ago. They'll learn about, scoring and stuff. So anyways, I think tonight will look a lot different, But you're right. I mean, if it's still as lax when it comes to playing either one of those two sides in either Madrid or Arsenal, it's going to look a lot different. I just think it's surprising how much you change your tone from yesterday after watching that match. I don't think a lot of people that would come away from watching a 5-4 game and think that their opinion has changed so much as to what the rest of this could look like. But yeah, I mean, this is, I think Arsenal, in terms of the style of play that they have, probably matches up well against a team that's a little more laissez in the way they attacked in that matchup yesterday. So interesting stuff. Well, what's your prediction on today?
Prediction today, I think Arsenal wins 1-0. That's what I think is going to happen. 1-0 they win today.
Slappy, man.
Arsenal slappy for sure.
Here.
I don't think Atletico is this world beater. And a couple things I want to get into. Obviously, the Arsenal Bayern Munich game. For everyone that says Arsenal stands no chance against Bayern Munich, well, let's look at the game back in November. I know a long time ago, but it's the one, sample size, the one example we could use maybe to help determine the winner of this game if they were to play. It's not like Bayern Munich just destroyed Arsenal or anything. It's not like Bayern Munich was like Arsenal just got lucky on a couple corners. So shots on goal, 8 for Arsenal, 2 for Bayern. Okay. Total shots, 14 for Arsenal, 6 for Bayern. Possession, 55-45. Don't really look too much into that. But then corners, Arsenal got 6. So they were creating chances left and right. And let's not forget that Bayern Munich's goal was an absolute gift. Or what was it? Thomas Carl, was that his name was? Absolute gift. Yeah. So the people that are like, Arsenal would stand no chance against Bayern Munich, you can't say that at all. And let's not forget a year ago, Arsenal PSG, I know PSG obviously won the leg, but let's not forget Arsenal had tons of chances in that game as well, especially in that second leg, and they just could not find the back of the net to save themselves. So for all those people that are out there that are like, Arsenal can't get it done against Atletico or PSG or Bayern Munich, guys, there's 2 examples where they could absolutely get it done. Just because you guys like the sex appeal, which is 9 goals in a game, it's fast flowing up and down the field. Don't get me wrong, I liked it too. But let's not think that ultimately is going to get it done. What basically that semifinal yesterday, and the final, obviously, the semifinal today, what it's kind of reminding me of is the Arsenal Atletico is kind of that private school, high school football team, super disciplined, dominant in the trenches, it's 4 yards every carry. Let's just move the chains, methodical up and down the field. We play great defense. And then they play the inner city team, that's PSG and Bayern Munich, and it's, dude, we've got 5-star wide receivers all over the place. We got a 5-star quarterback. Just chuck it up. Chuck it up and see what happens. But no one realizes that they have such an horrible offensive line. They have horrible defensive line. They don't tackle very well, and then the private school ends up winning. So that's what this is kind of reminding me of. That's what it's reminding me of, because you can't just run up and down the field, or it's almost like a team, and we see it all the time in March Madness. Miami, Ohio, for instance. Dude, just chuck threes up and down. It's so fast. It's so entertaining to watch. But on the other side, what Tennessee did just was, all right, let's just dump the ball down low, post move, dunk, cut. Okay, let's play good defense. Oh, you guys can't score anything but threes. Let's just switch everything. You guys can't do anything at all. So that's what this is basically reminding me of. And I don't know. I cannot comfortably say that Arsenal stands no chance. I can't. And that's in Atletico, same thing. I can't comfortably say that either of those two sides don't stand a chance against those two.
Let's take a break. When we come back here on Inside the Game, we will talk about a new proposal from FIFA. Apparently a U21 proposal. Everybody has to have one in their starting 11. A little bit more on that, as well as our opinions on the other end. That's coming up next here on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill that came like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
Back in live and inside the game here, hour number 1, episode 278 here on the National Soccer Network. You can find us on social media, same name, National Soccer Network, or Sports Nation, that's sports with a Z. We'll get into our all sports talk here in a little bit, but getting into our final topic here in hour number 1, Ryan, apparently FIFA proposing in the future, every club must have a U21 player in their starting 11. A new proposal from FIFA. Go ahead and break that one down.
Yeah, it's stupid. That's basically what I'd say. Dude, I get it. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to kind of even the playing field a little bit. You know, where teams, we talked about not having parity in the leagues and everything, and in the game of soccer. We've talked about that. Trying to level the playing field a little bit, and they're also, maybe they were listening to the podcast last week, and they're like, dude, we need to implement a rule. And then they're also talked about, you could also see it where they want to help develop talent. And from a U.S. men's national team standpoint, this is perfect. Like, from a USA standpoint, again, this is perfect. Like, just like the same thing with Vancouver, which I did hear from someone. Isn't it weird that there's Canadian MLS teams? Don't you think it's a little bit weird?
I don't know. Not
I think it's weird.
necessarily.
I think it's weird.
Why do you think it's weird?
Because it's a United States Soccer League, and this country of Canada could care less about the game of soccer, and they have like 3 teams up there.
Yeah, I mean, if we're comparing it to the other major leagues, though, I mean, Major League Baseball is a Canadian team. Obviously, the NBA is a Canadian team.
Isn't the Blue Jays like hanging on a little bit? The Raptors, one truly cares about.
No, I think the Jays are doing okay from like a financial perspective. I think they have a really healthy fan base. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't done my homework into it necessarily, but I thought Blue Jays fans travel better than a lot of other fans. But maybe the Raptors aren't doing well. But
I highly doubt it. The only time they do good is when like Drake's just chilling courtside because they had Kawhi Leonard. Like I don't even know who's even on the Raptors. Scotty Barnes is all I know. That's all. It's the only one because he's a funny guy. If anyone does not know, I know we have a lot of European listeners.
He's the best. Yeah.
If you guys ever get a chance to search up Scotty Barnes, like funny compilation, dude, he is stupid. I don't know if it's an act. I don't know if he's just doing it for fun or he's really that dumb. But just take a look at
my guy just on rollerblading through downtown Chicago after his game. I'm like, what?
Or the way he runs up and down the court, man. It's got to be an act, man. There's no way Scotty Barnes is real, dude. There's no way that's a real player. And I liked him at Florida State, too. Like, he seemed pretty normal. And then, like, the last couple of years with Toronto, like, I don't know, Canada changed him or something? Or I don't know.
Or him screaming at the top of his lungs when he missed the free throw. Just, oh, my God. Yeah, he's a nut. He's a nut. But anyways, go ahead.
So basically what FIFA wants to implement is you have to have an under 21 player in your starting 11 from what I gathered, it seems to be every league in the world. That from what I gathered. And I will say this is dumb simply because I don't like the front office of the league, the top of the top controlling things. Like if the NBA were to be like, okay, you have to have a player in your rotation from that state. Like if someone's born from Michigan, they have to be in the rotation on the Detroit Pistons.
Right.
I don't like that. I don't like when the leagues come in and try to control what happens on the field. Like you can implement rules for player safety. Maybe there's a rule that everyone hates. I get that. Like, but if you're out there helping control coaching decisions, tactical decisions, I don't like that. Please just stay away if that's the case. I don't like that one bit. If I'm being completely honest with you, Nate, I don't like that. And I get what they're doing, like I mentioned, that they wanted to kind of level the playing field because, you know, certain teams, like the biggest teams in the world, technically don't have under 21 players unless that under 21 player is a Messi or a Ronaldo or an Mbappe or something like that. Like that's right. The type of under 21 players that they have. Like there's some teams that are out there that have that. Don't get me wrong. And I do have a couple things to show you. So I was able to get some Premier League numbers out there for everyone because everyone talked about, because this is what I found on the internet was all these different graphs about, you know, what under 21 players have. and what teams show. So this is this year in the Premier League, obviously games with an English under 21 player in the starting 11. Man City with 30, Newcastle 23, Crystal Palace 21, United 20, Tottenham 18, Brighton 17, and you guys can go down the rest of the list. And you look at a team like my Arsenal 2, Liverpool 2, and those are two really big clubs, Chelsea 11, but again, they always buy young players anyway. But then I look at, do they actually get, good running, good numbers? Do they actually play a ton of matches? Newcastle, their players have played over almost 3,300 minutes. Man City, almost 2,900. Manchester United, 2,200. And then you guys can just go down the rest of the list. And you look at Arsenal and Liverpool, and they're all under 1,000. So, but most of these teams are still under 1,000. Even the teams that struggle a little bit, like a Nottingham or a West Ham United, like they still don't play a ton of young talent. And I get exactly what the league want. I get what they want to do. They want to help development of the players, and they want to help all the homegrown talent that they can. And I'm all for that. But if you're forcing a coach to put an under 21 player because you feel like it,
Yeah.
then I mean, what are you doing there a little bit? And at the same time, you're then taking away a spot from a player that deserves to be on the field, should be on the field. Then, like, what is stopping the coach then from, starting the player, starting that under 21 player in the game, and then all of a sudden, 30 seconds into the match, a substitution is ready to make way? Wait, so the normal starter that plays in that position is being subbed on? Then all of a sudden, the coach has got to waste a sub, even though you only have 3 substitution windows. But there's nothing that says that under 21 player is ready to play in the game. There's 100% no reason that they should play in the game if they're not ready. So that's where some of my biggest issues with all of this. That is what I don't like about this at all. I don't think it'll ever get passed. It's a decent idea, but it's a decent idea. But I think something that could be a little bit of a better rule change. I know I've already knocked it. I've already docked it, said this is a stupid thing, but I'll give you a better rule change. And just carry an under 21 in your match day squad for every single game. They don't have to play. They're just on the bench. They travel with the squad, and at least they're there, and they could potentially go in the game. That's what you get. That's what you do instead of implementing one into the starting 11, because, man, is that stupid. Because I am not trying to control the coach's decisions. That could control fates of games. This could control fates of titles and competitions. It's stupid.
Much like the same conversation we had about Italy. If you haven't earned the spot, you haven't earned the spot. And so that's kind of the starting point for me as it pertains to this conversation. Everybody wants parity. Parity is what makes leagues entertaining. I think people enjoy dynasties mostly because they want to see dynasties fall. And if you ever have the privilege of watching a team that you support beat the team that is the dynasty or outlast the program that was supposed to win it or the club or what have you, it is a very reassuring and fulfilling feeling to watch that happen. However, like you said, when you try to force parity is when things start to get a little weird. Now, I see what they're trying to do and to accomplish. Again, if you force teams to, you have to play one U21 guy. Yeah, it takes up a spot from someone that's more deserving, but it also takes up a spot from someone that, again, you can just go out and spend a bunch of money on, and they want to level the playing field, yes, and also give local players, more of an opportunity to showcase their stuff. But, number one, from what you said, if you haven't earned the position, if you're good enough as a U21, you should be out there, and there's no reason why you shouldn't be out there. If you're not good enough, you're not out there. It's as cut and dry as it gets. However, this idea that to be good, to be really good, you have to do one or the other, right? You either have to spend an exorbitant amount of money on talented, experienced players, get those big time transfers, and then you'll go out and win. And then there's the other side. They're always building and investing through the youth, and they hope that maybe the homegrown talent that they make can carry them to that next level. From what you just showed me in terms of the graphs and young players and getting minutes, at the top of that list is Man City. So is it fair to assume that there are some teams and some clubs that have the capability of doing both, that can develop really well and can put really good talent out on the field or out on the pitch, but are also good at investing where they need to invest and getting the transfers they need in order to continue what has been really a tradition of winning in a recent history of winning? I think in order to call yourself a good club, or at least a club that can dominate, you have to have the capability to do both. And all of a sudden, if we start mandating this, now that takes away the need from actually having to be good at it. I mean, as long as you just meet that requirement, teams are just going to continue to operate as usual, with the exception of that one player. But that's the difference maker in my mind. If you're a club that is able to do all of those things, that's what creates a model that can sustain you and that will build a dynasty. But it's so few and far between when we talk about the teams that are capable of doing that. And this is where the whole forcing parity thing, it doesn't really work for me. Now, if we want to talk about financial means and I mean, it is really hard, especially when you look at, American pro sports leagues with the highest earners in these cities and these organizations that just, they spend more because they have more, like the Los Angeles effect here in the United States. That might be a little bit different. There might be some other conversations that go on there. But again, even before the Dodgers were dropping all these billions of dollars on their players, they still had the ability to do one thing, and that was they had a solid major league team. Even before they were all the Avengers, they were still pretty good, and they developed young players. They did both, and you can do both. And I imagine it's somewhat the same, obviously not exactly the same, but it's somewhat the same in this scenario. Man City was top of that list in terms of the usage rate for U20 players. Man City wins. So that's what I don't understand about this forcing parity that FIFA is contemplating.
Well, there's the reason that they have at the highest usage rate is because they play like one player all the time. So it's not like
that's true.
It's not like they're fielded with all under 21 players. I think Nico O'Reilly's an under 21, but he's like the starting left back. So he obviously plays, and that's where a lot of that happens. Dave says, with the depth of squads these days, I would have a few youngsters on the bench. Any comfortable lead, throw on the youngsters. Sometimes you get a diamond. That's what I would agree with. If the leads come, like, you clear the bench if you're up like 5-0 or something in the last 10 minutes of the game. Like, that's what Dortmund did with Matthias Alber. They were up 3-0. They're like, here's the last 5 minutes of the game. Like, just have fun, kid. Get your touches in. But it's and I will say this too, because obviously you're into minor league baseball and everything. What if all of a sudden the MLB is like, you have to have one of your prospects in the starting lineup every single day in baseball, and a guy like, I mean, Kevin McGonigal might be a bad example of this because of how good he's doing now, but let's just say like they put up a guy like Bryce Rayner. They put up a guy like Bryce Rayner up there. Like, he has to be in the starting lineup for the Detroit Tigers because he's under 21 or under 25. Probably under 25 would probably be like the better example for a baseball player. But under 25, Bryce Rayner's up there, and all of a sudden his confidence just dies. Like, he can't do anything. And you put these under 21 soccer players out in the field, and they're not ready for it, and their confidence kills them. And all of a sudden, and then all these people, all these millions of fans and people that come pay to see you guys, see you guys play. Oh, you make a fool of yourself. You make an absolute fool of yourself, and then you can't recover. This kid may have been a very good soccer player if he just was waited on a year or two later, and he was built up properly. He had the right confidence, but instead he was forced because of some stupid FIFA rule to play on the field, and he gets his confidence killed. No one actually likes him. He's getting bashed on social media. Hopefully he doesn't write a Max Clark essay, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it would kill. Like, Kevin McGonigal obviously was like the one exception probably to this whole situation. But if you bring up a guy like Max Clark last year, and he just strikes out all the time, and obviously he has wrote an essay about missing fly balls. Like, what would that happen to him on the major league level? That would crush him. I would think that would crush him. So you would be crushing these players before they even develop, and then they got to go waste their career away in some low league.
Yeah, and I I don't think, to be honest with you, one player in that situation would not make a difference in my opinion. I mean, you have the remainder of the team and your pitching staff and everything else. And you got 11 guys on the pitch during a soccer match. So, I don't know. You tell me. Does switching out one player make a world of difference for all the different clubs?
So I
Plus,
think if
I mean, I imagine the big clubs are still going to have their pick of the litter when it comes to the best U20s available.
well, it all depends on who's in their academy system. Is all their scouting it in place? I guess unless you just start buying academy players like all the time. Like I know you can do that,
I mean,
but it's a little
right.
bit more challenging because those guys all they want to do is just play and get results. Like that's
Yeah.
all they want to do. Where if you might come into a bigger academy, like I don't know how that would all work. But if you were, it would depend on the position. You would most likely see all of these players in an outside back role. That's basically what, because you could never put them in goalie. You could never put them as center backs. You probably could not put them in the midfield, but you would put them outside. You'd put them on the outside back or maybe an outside winger. That's basically where you could even implement a U21 player if you don't even feel like they're ready just a little bit. But that's the way I view this thing is it's like you're not going to throw these guys starting in goal. You're not going to throw unless it's like the Bayern Munich situation potentially against Atalanta where like everyone's hurt and we need somebody. But like you're not gonna do that. You're gonna put them in the outside back roles and you're gonna put them in the wings. That's why you see so many young outside backs producing at such a high level and so many wingers, I guess you could say, maybe a number 10 every now and again. But like you're not going to see like a striker really dominate at such a young age. Erling Haaland being one exception that I can think of off the top of my head. And then you're not going to put them in the number 6 role or number 8 role because they're not physically prepared for that. They're not physically ready. Obviously, there's outliers to all of this. Someone's going to probably say, well, did you look at this? Did you see this player? They did this at such a young age. Well, yeah, they're one of the greatest players of all time. Obviously, that's not going to happen for every single one. What is like the old saying for like for every Messi, there's like 200 flops or something like not 200, maybe like 100 flops. Like you get the saying that I'm trying to say there. For like one LeBron, you've got at least like 10 flops. Like you got Zion Williamson, who's supposed to be the next one, and he clearly didn't pan out or in anything like that. So it's just going to kill it, and I just feel like this is such a horrible rule. Now, if they put these players on the bench, I'm fine with that. And some people might have said, oh, you're a hypocrite, Ryan, because you said you just put Matthias Albert or Julian Hall or all those guys, at least on the U.S. Men's National Team World Cup bench. Yeah, because they're on the bench. They're just there. They're not actually playing the game. They're just in the environment. Every big nation does it. I don't know why we can't. It's not like we're better than anyone. It's not like basketball where it's like, okay, well, we don't have to do that because we're the United States in basketball. Yeah, that's different. But we are soccer. We don't have anything.
Yeah. And just to get them FaceTime in that environment, I also think is an important thing too, to just get them exposure.
Yeah, just
to
put them on the
this is
bench.
what
That's
the
all
World
you
Cup
got to
is.
do.
Yeah.
Don't implement them in the
Right.
game. It's dumb. God, FIFA's so dumb sometimes. And it's like, you know what this is like? This is like the NBA is trying to be too smart for everyone. Be like, okay, we're the smartest guy in the room. Let's just ruin one whole thing. Oh, by the way, I was going to say this last time during the Arsenal Bayern, the whole conversation. Let me just get this out real quick before we get into the other stuff and how stupid the NCAA is and how stupid the Pistons are and all that fun stuff. But guys, just because a game scored 9 goals that did not involve a Premier League team does not mean the Premier League is not as good as those other teams. I don't know those people out there that are so stupid and think, well, the Premier League just isn't the quality of the Bayern Munichs and the PSGs. Guys, PSG and Bayern Munich are the only teams that win their league. That's the only teams that win it. They basically have, that league has one team and one team only. That's all they have. You go to the Premier League and Man City, you got Arsenal, Liverpool typically, Chelsea sometimes, Manchester United, they've been trash. But guys, just because they scored 9 goals in one game does not make them the greatest leagues in the world, does not downplay the Prem. You could maybe say it's a little bit boring. you could maybe say that, but at the same time, Pep Guardiola did the same thing with Bayern Munich and Barcelona and Man City. Hey, we got a new guy in the chat, Evan. Evan, what's going on, my man? He's saying what's up from Facebook. Shout out Evan. Shout out my guy Evan.
Yo. All right.
Hey, we got to go blue. He said go blue. Shout out Evan, man. Shout out Evan, our guy. Now how about them Wolverines? Hey, what do you think the football team's going to do this year? What do you think the football team record's going to be? I got them going 9-3. But yeah, no, let me know what you think, Evan. What's your record right now? If you had to say it right now, what would you say?
I'll give them 10 wins.
10 wins. Ooh. Because you
I'll
realize
give
they
'em
got
10.
Oregon, Indiana, and Ohio State still, right? And Oklahoma.
I'll give them 10.
Ooh. And they got the juggernaut that is Western Michigan, obviously. So
Okay, I'll give them 9 actually. And now that you mentioned that, I'll give them 9.
yeah, so they got oh wait, dude, they got Michigan State in there, man. That's a tough one. They got Penn State, Indiana, Oregon, Ohio State, and then obviously the one and only UCLA Bruins with Nico Iamaleava, who is god awful. Jesus. But yeah, no, I just had to
Feeling
get that
brand
rant in
new.
there. I meant to,
No, you're good.
I meant to say that in the last segment, but like sometimes when you're just scrolling through like social media, and like everyone definitely says this about me, but like, dude, there are just some stupid people out there. Guys, just because one team that didn't involve another league was just such a great game doesn't mean you get to downplay it. Just because Alabama and LSU scored 70 points combined in one game does not mean the SEC is the greatest conference in the world, because the Big Ten scores combined like 40 points in a game, guys. Relax.
Yep. Let's take a step aside. When we come back,
Can
we'll
only
get into our
mention
all
Indiana
sports
fans.
conversation.
Think about me.
Here on the National Soccer Network, we'll talk a little bit about NCAA expanding the tournament field. But first, Barca Academy is a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network and the official academy of FC Barcelona in the United States. Designed for boys and girls ages 6 to 18, Barca Academy camps follow and replicate the FC Barcelona game model. Same philosophy used by Barca's professional coaching staff. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code FCB30. Again, that's FCB30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you at fcbarcelona.us/camps.
In Barca camp, I see my son grown on and off of the field. Don't miss the time to register.
Sign up now for Barca Camp.
Number 2 of our conversation here on Inside the Game on the National Soccer Network. Getting into our all sports talk here on the show. Ryan, hope you've brushed up on that jump shot a little bit, because you and I are going to be in March Madness next year. They actually expanded the field again. You and I are actually going to put a team together of 5 of us, and we're going to go play Kentucky in the first round. So they told us that we're up. So, yeah. We might. But yes, the NCAA is expanding. Yet again, this was not a joke. They were dead serious about it, and it looks as if they're maybe entering the final stages to do this. 76 teams that will be a part of the all new look to the NCAA March Madness tournament. Ryan, it is rare that an announcement like this is made and the reaction to the announcement is so unanimous. I felt like when it came to college football, expanding the field wasn't really all that the whole lot of debate. There was some debate going on. Some people didn't like it. Some people, kind of liked the way the BCS was before we had the playoff system. But I would argue the majority of people looked at the way that it is now, or at least when expanded to 4 teams, and went, oh, okay, yeah, we like this. But there was always a lot of debate. But there was a handful of people who liked the fact that the football playoffs are expanding. You look across social media today after this news that the NCAA March Madness will be expanding March Madness to over 70 teams. And I don't know if I've found a single opinion or a take or someone who has looked at that and gone, oh, great, awesome. Yay, more teams in March Madness, more teams making this tournament. It has surprised me in a way to see the exact opposite, which is the majority of people going, this is stupid. Why do we need more teams in this tournament than what we already do? And obviously making jokes and memes about what, some of the teams are going to be that are making the tournament next year. But that has been mostly the reaction that I've seen. What is your biggest takeaway from obviously this news?
Sorry, I was trying to pull my video for some comments. Because I made a video on this yesterday. Our guy Schrock said, at this point, just let them all in and battle it out. Ridiculous. The excitement is in the who is getting left out. So I would say in all this is my initial reaction is this is stupid. This is just the dumbest thing in the world. And which, by the way, I found out Ryan Hammer is an Arsenal fan this past weekend. Oh, dude, my respect is way up here now. My respect for that guy is way up here now. And he's tweeting in live games about it. I was like, dude, this guy's awesome already. He already talks great college basketball, whatever. But my initial reaction is he laid it out perfectly from what Ryan Hammer said. He laid it out. He goes, they're going to say this is to get everyone more involved. This is to get, some better chances for the smaller teams to get a chance of playing. No, guys, it's all about money. It's all about greed. It's all about making sure from this year, the Indianas of the world, the Auburns of the world, those type of teams to give them a chance to play, so we don't have to hear about, well, why wasn't Auburn in? Why wasn't Indiana in? Why wasn't, well, no, Ohio State wasn't in this year. They're typically a bubble team, but that's the reason why. They want to give more Power 4 teams an opportunity. But the issue I have in all of this is these teams don't deserve to be in it. It's like the college football playoff, it going to 12. I didn't really have that big of an issue on it because, you're, instead of having the top 4 teams in the country, you're having the top 12, but in theory it's like the top 8. So I'm fine with that. You're still having some really good teams in there. Yeah, we're going to have the blowouts when the mid-majors of the world start watching or start playing. But you are putting in teams that don't even deserve to sniff March Madness. One guy says, Koblenz said, doesn't matter how many teams, Michigan by 1 million. And you know what my response to all that was? Still means that Michigan won the last real tournament, just like the college football playoff, which means Ohio State's probably going to win it next year. And then he says, Don Cam 02, basically he goes, this is a glorified NIT. I wouldn't go that far, but that first
yeah,
that opening round, that Tuesday, that Wednesday or Monday, whatever day it is that the first 4 typically plays on, it's just going to be the NIT. That's what we're looking at.
Much like a lot of people, and I'm not unique in this way. I like my routines. Sometimes I'm not much of a quote thinking out of the box kind of person. I like things as they are because I think it's comfortable. But this time I think, me and everybody else who's kind of like that has a point. And the reality is approaching this argument with sound logic and factual data and things to back up the blatant fact that we don't need to expand this tournament.
It's
Which I'll
perfect
give
as
you
the way
one
it
thing,
is.
and that's I'll give you one thing that will just pretty much answer all of this. The top 3 seeds have won 90% of the tournaments that have played since the field is expanded. So outside of this top 3, it's not giving anyone more of an opportunity to go win a national championship. They're phrasing it in an emotional way so that they can appeal to these smaller schools while also realizing that it's not going to add to the quality of the games. It is simply, as you said, an opportunity to make more money. And so what am I going to say that is logical to someone who stands to make a lot more off of this, whether it be with TV, whether it be with everything else that goes into this tournament? People are going to make more money. And so, yeah, I mean, it's the most obvious thing in the world, but it's just, I think, the lack of excitement and the immediate, shooting back from people on social media. I'm actually looking at X right now, and Jack Golke actually just tweeted about it yesterday. With
Shout out Jack
76
Golke.
teams, what are we doing? And Neil Rule reposted it. So obviously, I am not alone, and there's a lot of players that feel exactly the same way. But what's funny to me is how like the NCAA can be so blatantly greedy and try to phrase it in a way that isn't that way, but everybody's just kind of like calling them on their BS right away. I mean, it's like holding up a rabbit and being like, this is a duck. And it's like, no, it's not a duck. That's a rabbit. It's like, well, I say it's a duck, so therefore it's a duck. It's like, okay, well, just do what you want to do then. Actually, why don't we just have one big tournament at the beginning of the year and we'll just weasel our way down. Let's get NAIA and D3 and D2 teams in here while we're at it.
Just make it.
I mean, while we're at, I want Cornerstone University in the first round of the NCAA tournament. So let's
Which,
make
by
it
the
happen.
way, I was just dying a second ago. I don't know what just happened, but I was dying. My apologies.
Are you all
everyone.
right? Yeah. Did you choke on your drink
Dude,
or something?
I was just sitting here and I was like, what?
Yeah, I heard that. I'm like, are
Yeah,
you
I thought I
okay?
muted myself too, but I
All
didn't,
right.
obviously. But anyway,
I just kept going.
we're good. We're good. Appreciate Nate for carrying for the last couple minutes there.
Yeah,
They just got to do what they did in the what's the movie called? Hoosiers, the Indiana basketball movie, like the high school basketball movie, where they did every single high school played each other for a state champ. Like the typical like Division 4 schools were playing. Everyone played from Division 1 all the way up to Division 4 to 1 or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly the numbers, but that's basically what they should do at this point. Any junior college, it starts with the junior colleges. Start playing some knockouts, and you get to NIA, D3, D2, and then we'll eventually get to the Division 1s, basically. But this whole thing is kind of reminding me of the World Cup. So, I mean, obviously, I still have this up here just for, the purpose of the show. And obviously, it goes from 32 teams to 48 teams. And there are teams that don't even deserve to even be in this tournament, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. Haiti's got no reason being here. Sorry, Dave, but does Scotland truly deserve to be here? Just wondering.
Ooh.
Cape Verde does not deserve to be there. Iraq doesn't deserve to be there. Jordan doesn't. Congo, even though their fans are pretty awesome. Uzbekistan doesn't deserve to be there. Like, there are countries that do not deserve to be there typically, yet they are in the tournament right now. That's the issue that I'm having with all of this is this does not mean better games. It doesn't mean, more upsets. We might have more Cinderellas. No, guys, that's not the point of it. We're now going to get less Cinderellas because we are now going to have potentially teams playing in that first round, the round of 64, whatever round it is. We will now have teams that are going to be in the round of 64 that don't even deserve to be in the tournament. So when they go up and play a powerhouse team in the first round or the second round somehow, they are going to get obliterated. And now it's just going to help separate everyone. So like you said, the teams that win the national championship the most are the top 3 seeds. Now it's just going to happen more because maybe that 11 seed that really could have gone on a run or that 12 seed that really could have gone on a run didn't even make it to the round of 64 because they lost in the opening round or whatever to some Power 4 school that we just had to give some attention to, and then they get blown out by 30 points in the round of 64. So
Right.
it's
Well,
we're gonna have less Cinderellas.
and not that the NCAA or college basketball in general would ever go to the extent of becoming what the National Basketball Association is, at least in the way the game's played. I don't specifically.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
we don't
see
have
it.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander in the Oklahoma. We didn't
Yeah,
have Michigan just
no.
drive down the lane and jump into someone
Right.
and hit them in the face, but yet it's the foul on the other
Right.
team. We don't have that.
But thing is about getting into the playoffs is like you only have to be good enough to get in. Like everything that happens beyond that point is just it all depends on matchups. I think we're seeing that in real time with the Orlando Magic. As long as you get in, you get in. Now obviously you want the higher seed for home court advantage. You want it for seeding purposes. It's great to finish in that spot, but does adding that many extra teams take away from the importance a little bit of the regular season in college basketball? Because now what used to be a bubble team is no longer a bubble team. It's a team that you should absolutely get in. Now I know there's conference championships and all that, but it's something to think about. Something to
And
consider.
funny we're talking about this because now I get an ESPN notification about Jay Williams, and maybe you said this when I was dying, so I apologize if I you already said it. But Jay Williams said this is just what the notification reads, or the words say: increasing size of NCAA tournament fields is about placing power conferences and devalues the regular season. I don't know if you mentioned devaluing the regular season, but the regular season.
I just said it 15 seconds ago.
Oh, you
was the
did? I
last
was really
thing
just
just
looking at the
said.
thing.
Yeah. No, you're
But yeah,
good.
no, the regular season is now devalued because
Yeah.
10 years ago, in order to make the tournament, you had to win 21, 22-ish games. So it meant like you could only lose like 12 games, 12, 13 games, give or take, right around that frame, 14 maybe. But you basically to know if you were in the tournament, if you won 22 games, you were set, which meant you were like top 5 in your conference, top 6 maybe, depending on the strength of your conference. But now we can have teams that finish. We might have a team that finishes below 500 in this damn thing. We might have a team that's in the Power 4, but they beat. Let's give a team like Ohio State, for example, in basketball, because they're typically a bubble team. Let's just say that they finish a game below 500, but they beat at least once a Michigan State, a Michigan, and a Purdue. They beat those 3 teams once. And that is 3 quad one fantastic victories, and you're going to have 3 top 10 wins right there. But they're going to get in because they were right around 500 and they beat a couple of big teams. Yet they don't even deserve to be in this thing. They don't deserve to be in the tournament at all. So it's all guys, whenever they mention something and they're saying we just want more parity in this, all they want is that they're getting more money out of it. They're getting more commercials. They're getting more TV rights. They're getting more games on television, which you, America, will be glued into.
Bet.
Oh, yeah, sports betting
Keep
too.
betting. Keep betting. Don't stop betting. Bet.
That too, which one of my friends literally responded with, it was like, yeah, I get to bet more on games now. Like, technically, yeah, you do get to bet on more sporting events. That is technically true. But this is what all they want is, I mean, if we're being honest, the sports books kind of run sports. If we're being completely honest, like they've got some say in certain things. Like, you're telling me that they definitely aren't influencing stuff. Like, that's what they want. They want you guys to bet on games. I don't bet, so they're gonna want you to bet on games, and they want you to sit glued in. Which, by the way, no work is getting done that week now. Like, that whole week, like that Thursday and Friday, no work was getting done. Yeah, try that whole Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Nothing's getting done. So if you're a CEO of a company or a manager of a place, yeah, you should just give everyone the week off. That's what I would do.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, but then again, does it also water down the excitement of those opening games, at the same exact time?
A little bit.
Like,
I think it does.
I mean, I don't really care to watch Fordham in the first round. Like,
I don't diss on the Paladins of Furman. Love
nice.
the Paladins.
Good on you for knowing the mascot.
No,
That's
we
funny.
only so in high school we had, like, my friends or whatever. We used to joke about, like, we clinged on to Furman because they played Michigan State in football at the beginning of a season, and we're like, Furman. Like, it's purple everywhere. They're the Paladins. We knew nothing about them at all, but we're like, go Paladins. And, like, some people would show up with, like, Furman T-shirts and stuff. So I know all about the Furman Paladins. And when they find, like,
all right.
we didn't, like, so this was, what, sophomore year of college? So the whole group chat was kind of like it was just dissipating, like, slowly as we spoke, as every passing day. And then all of a sudden, we see Furman Paladins win the SoCon. And that group chat lit back up again. Like, and then it just stopped. And then obviously it got going after the Virginia win, and then it completely went silent. But no, I know about the Paladins.
Speaking of, I was going to say Paladins. They're not the Paladins, the Lions, rather. Let's talk a little bit about that coming up next here in our all sports section of the show. But before we get to that, let's talk about Man City Soccer Camps First, a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, bringing world-class training inspired by Man City's global football philosophy. Players across the United States, open to boys and girls of all skill levels. These camps focus on technical development, decision-making, and playing the game the City way. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code MCNSN30 or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you at usacamps.mancity.com. Our number 2 continues here on Inside the Game, 278 here on the National Soccer Network. We are posing a question to the fans today. Lions did pick up the 5th-year option for Gibbs, but not Jack Campbell. Interesting. So that we have one question on our mind here today to our Detroit brothers and sisters out there. But, you know, if anybody else wants to weigh in, Dave, I don't know if you have any opinions on the Detroit Lions. But if there's one player from the 2023 draft that you can't bring back, Laporta, Gibbs, Campbell, Branch, who is the player you wouldn't bring back and why? So I'll ask you out of the gate here, Ryan Glinsky, who would you not bring back out of that group?
Laporta. Laporta, simply because tight end is an expendable position. That spine injury scares me a little bit. And what I've seen out of the other 3, that being Jack Campbell, Gibbs, and Brian Branch, is they've all been studs. And I will say a little bit, and you talked about Jack Campbell not being signed, and Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously they got. So a little bit differences in money, $22 million for Campbell instead of the $14 million for Jahmyr Gibbs. But I like it simply because Jack Campbell will be re-signed for a long time. He's going to be the linchpin of that defense for hopefully like another 5 years, hopefully, if everything goes well and the Lions are still competing at a high rate. So that's what I expect with the Lions. But when I look at the Jahmyr Gibbs situation, and this is going to be probably, I think, truly the first year where I know it was kind of like midway through the season, we kind of realized that Gibbs is the guy. But this will be the first full year where Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be the bell cow, where he is going to be the guy that is carrying the load, that he's given the football every single time. And running back is kind of that.
How many carries would you say Pacheco gets? Like on a percentage wise, how many touches?
I
does
would
he
say
get versus
probably
Gibbs?
like 70-30, probably Gibbs, maybe.
Really 70-30? Okay, all right. Yeah, I'd probably say so. Yeah,
I think Pacheco was going to be used a lot in short yardage situations, like third and short, second and
hard runner.
short, fourth and short. Like that's what I think Pacheco will be used for. But when I look at what the decisions that they made yesterday, I mean, it's a little bit of a risk giving a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs that type of money with the amount of bruises and bumps and hits that running backs take on. And like obviously, I mean, linebacker does the same thing, but that's a little bit different than a running back. But I like that the Lions are going to wait. It's going to be a little bit of a waiting it out game because, I mean, what do the Falcons do with Bijan Robinson? We talked about it on oh boy, we forgot to do Who to Bet It today, didn't we? Yeah, we're going to have to do that tomorrow. Yeah, we forgot to do that.
We can come up with a
we're gonna have to do that
random
tomorrow.
one here in a minute, but
We're going to have to do
All right,
Who to Bet
sounds
It
good.
tomorrow. Okay, wow. We had
right.
Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson on Who to Bet It, and obviously I think we both said Bijan. Maybe you. I don't remember what everyone said. I think I at least said
forget.
Bijan. I think.
We said something that pissed people off, and I know that, but
So
par for the course.
anyway, but whatever the market is set for Bijan Robinson, I mean, that you're most likely going to see the same type of money given to a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs. That's just kind of the reason for that. But I want to see I think it's going to be more of a prove it year for Jahmyr Gibbs. Can you be the bell cow for this offense running the football? We retooled the offensive line for you. We got rid of Graham Glasgow and Taylor Decker. You got Cade Mays, and now you have a rookie in Blake Miller, which a guy that we believe in heavily. What are you going to be able to do? Because if he comes out and has like an year, or it's not like Saquon Barkley or Bijan Robinson numbers or old Christian McCaffrey numbers, then he's not going to get the amount of money that most people think. I think Jet Campbell will get extended during the season. I think that we're going to see that. We've seen it with Aiden Hutchinson, Aleem McNeil, Penei Sewell, Jared Goff, and Amon-Ra. We're going to see that in JMO. We are going to see that with Campbell. But I think Gibbs, we're going to wait until after the season, see where his body is, where his health is, because running backs, I mean, they take a toll, man. They take a toll.
And it goes quickly. I mean, much like quarterbacks we talk about, but for running backs specifically, that's why these big, long contracts when it comes to running backs, like
It's like giving Jalen Duren money.
Many of them. Yeah, it's just not. It's not a smart investment for many reasons. Now, obviously, giving money to Jalen Duren, I think that has everything to do with just how he's just fallen off a cliff in the playoffs, and the numbers will show that. And I mean, we'll talk about Pistons coming up tomorrow because very realistically, they could get bounced tomorrow night against, or rather, that's tonight, isn't it? It is tonight against the Magic. Okay, never mind. It could be as early as tonight. But no, big contracts to running backs is not just a risky maneuver. It is just bad business practice. And we saw this with the Cowboys and their treatment of Zeke Elliott and how all that went down. And Zeke Elliott had a great run in the National Football League. But when his body gave out, his body gave out. There's only so many hits and bumps and bruises and awkward tackles that you could take before it finally goes. And that's why I think the dual running back, the whole Sonic and Knuckles thing was great for so long, because you got to take a lot of that pressure off of one another. That's why I hope this tandem of him and Pacheco is really going to be another powerful one. Now, if Pacheco can be a short yardage guy, cool. I mean, I think much like David Montgomery was, I would say Montgomery's profile was much more a power back than anything else. But no, if this question of who would I not bring back from the 23 class, it has to be Sam Laporta. I mean, I have some serious problems with that back injury. And not necessarily because of the larger, more impending problems that are going to affect his health later on and complications from having a spine injury, but it is the most sensitive part of your back. And also, if relying on him in the run game and in situations where it's going to be impact after impact and expecting him to be playing at the same level that he was before. I don't know if we can get that out of him. And even if this is a team that does prioritize tight end play, I would assume they are, given Dan Campbell was a tight end himself once upon a time, they're infinitely valuable position if you get the right one. I think Travis Kelce proved that over the course of his career. The only difference is, again, we're dealing with a spine injury, which is, I even talked about this yesterday. I'm like, ACLs don't even freak me out anymore. Like in the draft, I forget who it was. It was Freeling. Freeling had an ACL tear, I'm pretty sure. And people are like, oh, I think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was another player that we were considering picking up, but someone had an ACL tear somewhere in the draft. And I remember someone, I think it was Dan, I was talking to him. They're like, yeah, might not take him because of the ACL tear. Now, if the ACL leads to other ligaments, that's much more complicated, but simply ACL tears, they don't freak me out anymore. It's like they go into surgery, they come back, they're back in a couple of months. The Achilles freaks me out a lot more. And the back freaks me out a hell of a lot more than anything else. Your spine, you can't walk around without a spine. That's not, especially if there's a disc problem, like that is far different. And it's cool to think that medicine has gotten to the point now to where an ACL tear doesn't really freak me out in terms of what does his future looks like. Cause when your dad and my dad were young, I mean, that was your career. I mean, my Uncle John tore his ACL at Michigan is a big reason why he didn't go to the National Football League. He went to the Canadian Football League because rehabbing from an ACL a handful of decades ago was far different than what it is in 26. But yeah, your spine is not something that you mess with, unfortunately. And so I think if there's one person that I would leave off the table, it would probably be Sam Laporta, just merely from a risk perspective. And that's not to say that everyone else isn't banged up or have their own injuries, but I'd much rather take a torn ACL or a bum ankle or whatever it is over, a serious spinal injury, which, by the way, was his first, not massive, but, major injury, severe injury of his career.
What about, Branch? He's got an Achilles? He's going to be out till Thanksgiving?
That is concerning too. Yeah. But yeah. And clearly they think Branch can get back to 100% if they're willing to bring him back.
I think the difference, though, when it comes to a guy like Brian Branch and Sam Laporta, obviously both scary injuries, but I think the difference boils down to, though, is tight end, safety. That's a little bit different positions, I think, personally. And to think, though, at the same time,
more physically involved at tight end for sure.
That in Branch is huge for this defense. It's huge for this defense. Offensively, you've got Amon-Ra, you got JMO, you got Gibbs, offensive line, Goff. Khalif Raymond was a big factor in our offense, and now he's not even on the team. There's going to be another weapon that we just don't know yet. It could be Isaac Tesla. It could be the kid from, I think it was it Kentucky Law, I think was his name. There's going to be, that's a little bit easier to replace. But safety-wise, looking at Kirby and Brian Branch, when both of those guys were not there this year, we saw how drastically that defense looked, how different that defense looked. So that's what I see as well. But to be honest with you, Nate, outside of free agency, to be honest, Nate, outside of free agency, I'm not super mad at what the Lions did. I'm not really mad. I should be pissed off probably with the way free agency has been handled and all that fun stuff. They didn't do anything to truly wow me. Dude, we're back to being Super Bowl contenders. But they did nothing to make me feel oh my God, this ship's going down. What they did yesterday, not mad at all for the reasons I laid out. We talked about the draft on Monday, not mad about what they did in the draft. And then I'm not mad at the players that they lost. Anzalone, that one doesn't really bother me. Taylor Decker doesn't bother me.
So much.
Maybe Amik Robertson with the Justin Jefferson effect, but that's really about it.
So much of the question around the Lions is really a question of whether or not they stay healthy during the regular season. You talked about it yesterday. I still think this is probably the third or fourth best roster in the NFL if everyone is healthy and everyone is productive. But that, again, has been the main problem over the last couple of years, is that we just simply, this team cannot stay healthy for one reason or another. I don't know if it's the turf at Ford Field. I don't know what it is. I mean, it always bothers me when people are like, there was that point once upon a time that, oh, they're going too hard. It's that they're going too hard, too fast all the time. I'm like, that's football, guys. That's how the game's played. So I don't think it's that, but something somewhere. I don't know if it's the training staff, but it has been more so than usual. I mean, you see every NFL team has injuries they have to deal with. There's no such thing as a team that makes a deep playoff run that doesn't have injury issues, but it has seemed particularly bad in the Motor City the last few years.
So I was listening to, some former NFL players and, talk about Ford Field, and I guess the turf there is horrible. Like, it happened.
It is old.
Yeah.
It's very old.
Like, the Mike Evans injury, like, he just fell and broke his collarbone. Like when we played the Bucks this year, like, that was horrible.
Yeah.
But I guess it's just straight concrete but below that thing, below the turf. It's just straight concrete, I guess. So there's definitely a lot of worrying signs about the turf at Ford Field. I mean, Sheila, we're paying this amount of money for the players. We might as well try to protect those players we should have just done it when we were bad anyway, so like it didn't really matter, but like we've got to do something about that turf. Like, obviously the best playing surface is grass. Like, there was a play a couple years ago during the 15-2 year where we played at Lambeau, and Jahmyr Gibbs, if that was the way he got tackled, if that was at Ford Field, Jahmyr Gibbs would have been out for the year, like torn ACL, done. But since he got to play at Lambeau, we're okay. We're okay, but dude, they've got to do something. Like, I guess it's as hard. It's like the hardest playing surface that I guess they've ever played on.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of places have turf. I will say turf in general, just it sucks to get tackled on. I mean, I know that you played soccer, so obviously you know what it's like to get dragged across turf. But it is if the underlying surface is not great, then it can certainly have an effect. And I've been on Ford Field. Now, mind you, it's probably the coolest turf I've ever felt. But then again, like, I played at Ford Field once. But I didn't. That was still better than any surface I had ever been on in my life. So.
Well, what do you think? There's like a big difference between like playing on turf at like the Big House in November when it's freezing outside. Do you think it's like equivalent to the Ford Field turf, or they got heaters in that thing because it's outside? Like, I feel like outside turf would hurt way more.
No,
I mean, because it does.
I mean, when it freezes, because it does. I mean, it feels like obviously getting dragged across ice, but. No, I mean, it makes the ground hard. It makes everything harder when it's cold out, So I think that's tough. But no, the one at Ford Field, it has a little bounce to it, has a little buoyancy to it. But again, I think when you talk about obviously the difference between high schoolers and guys in the National Football League is they're much bigger, they move much faster, their cuts are much more violent, right? So for high schoolers, it probably doesn't feel that bad, but for guys in the NFL. It's going to feel a lot different, but the Big House surface is pretty cool. I'll never getting to walk across the 50 in an empty stadium when it was it's pretty cool there. You really get an understanding, especially you have to walk all the way up the stands, because I had to walk from the ground level up to like row 92 like 3 or 4 times when I was there, and it's Yep, you want to feel something, you'll feel something then, which it's funny because it's like dug into the ground. So to anybody who goes there for the first time, you're going to be like, where's this big, massive stadium I've heard about? Because on the outside, it looks like there's like 3 rows, and then you get inside and you're like, oh, okay. So
it's way
it's like
down
a fish
there.
bowl. Yeah, so and just anybody who ever ends up going to a game, which I would, even if you hate Michigan, it still should be on the bucket list to at least go to the Big House and see at least one. So, but anyways, Let's I wanted to mention Kevin McGonigal coming up in the next segment. He's doing something that no player his age has ever done in the history of baseball. It is amazing to see. We can also dive into mailbag a little bit if you have anything in that way, but we'll get to question of the day as well. All that and more coming up next here on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges a past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
Inside the Game rolls into its final segment here on the National Soccer Network. Nate Wangler and Ryan Glinsky. Ryan, I know it is still the month of April, so it is early to talk about, what's going on the baseball side of things. However, normally speaking, I feel like we don't have this many storylines in the way of amazing things going on with the Tigers this early into the season. But Kevin McGonigal continues to amaze. He is turning himself into one of the best prospects we've ever seen. I knew he was good coming up, but I'll be honest, I don't know if I expected all this. I know I said that he is the best pure young prospect and young hitter in baseball. I didn't realize he would go to this extent with what he's done. He's completely changed the way that scouting departments go about recognizing and developing talent. For those of you who don't know, he's been on base now 25 straight games. He's the only player in history to ever do so in his rookie campaign. But again, it's completely altered the way that scouting departments go about recognizing and also developing talent. It used to be in baseball, and I remember when, Al Avila was obviously running the show with the Detroit Tigers, many of those old metrics that we used to use, and some of the early metrics in terms of the advanced analytics, whether it be launch angle or exit velocity, it is amazing to see, the organizations that got on those things early and the organizations that stuck with the old way and figured, we'll get to that when we get to that. We don't really need to. We're going to do it our way. And the Tigers were the latter part of that. They weren't really interested in all the advanced analytics, much like the Rays were, or the Dodgers, or the Astros, or any of these other organizations that have won World Series titles recently, that have made that big leap. But, there are certain things like batting average and on-base percentage. Yes, they tell you a lot, sure. Also conference prestige, where did you play? Did you play in the SEC? Did you play at one of these bigger programs? Matter much less than what a lot of the other metrics are showing us, which is when it comes to pitching, pitch shapes, pitch prototypes, body prototypes. Is there the way that you spin the baseball? Do we like it? I don't care if you had a 5 ERA in college. That doesn't mean anything to me. Can we optimize what it is that you do bring from an analytics perspective, again, whether it be physically or otherwise, and get the most out of you? Same thing comes with baseball, bat to ball skills, plate recognition, these metrics that show us that you have an advanced understanding of the zone, whether or not you hit, above 300 or had X amount of home runs. All of that means a little bit, sure, at the level that you're playing at, but what matters more than that are the other numbers that, again, I'm not going to dive into what all the different things mean. This is not a show in which I'm going to, get that far inside of baseball. But I hope that this is just a microcosm of the prototype that Scott Harris in this group has looked for, which is prime position players who have similar tools. Max Clark is up the middle. He's in center field, right? He displays all the different, capabilities that they want him to. Also advanced plate vision. He's been tearing it up in Toledo. Went through a little bit of a cold stretch there, but is hitting extremely well. Very athletic. Can command the field in center field. Shortstop, right? Kevin McGonigal, prime position back up the middle. I didn't realize his defense and his arm were as good as they are. I think we're learning a lot more about the defensive capabilities of Kevin McGonigal, but great at the shortstop position. Bryce Rayner, again, center field. Oh, well, no, sorry, shortstop. Another prime position, okay? He can also move over to second base if they need him in that position. Yeah, great sense for the zone, power, but also can play that middle position. Prime position players that are young, that have a longer leash, that have a good sense for the zone. And if Kevin McGonigal is just the first wave of this, I'm going to go out on a limb, Ryan, and say that in the next 2-3 years, we will win a World Series title. Now, I know that is out there. That is wild.
Ooh, a World Series?
I know. And we got to talk about
years?
the Dodgers and everything that's going on with LA. I know that is a wild prediction, but if this is just the start of what Scott Harris and the way that this group develops hitters, this regime develops hitters, then I think we're in for some pleasant results.
Well,
from what this team is,
we gotta make sure we're playing baseball here in a couple of years or so. Whatever's gonna happen there. But I did have a question for you. Obviously, Kevin McGonigal's got it. Everyone knows my stance on Kevin McGonigal. The kid's been really good, and I didn't expect it this early, to be completely honest with you. But I do have a question for you, Mr. Whitecap. Javi Baez got hurt last night. I don't know if you saw that, but Javi Baez, it didn't look that severe to me. I think it's just kind of a bad ankle sprain or anything like that. But I don't want Wenceel Perez playing center field for my baseball team, because if that's the case, then we can just put the fries in the bag. Is Max Clark getting pulled up here soon?
It's going to happen at some point this year. I don't know when, and I don't know if the reason why they're holding on to him for longer has something to do with contractual reasons. Because again, if you promote him, you better pay him, because all of a sudden now you lose control over him, especially when he loses that status that he has right now. And so it's a big decision. And so I think but I think sooner rather than later, because the Tigers want to, again, bring that group up together. Because, ask your dad or anybody else about what they did in the 80s. They brought that group up together, and we've seen that. Now, obviously, Avila had a couple of guys that came up together. I don't know if that was the goal. I think he just kind of forced them up.
That was just
and
to
Riley
save his
and
job.
Tort. It was just to try and save face, but it is going to happen. When? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but I know that Scott Harris is I think he's smart enough to know when the time is, but he just knows he's going to have to pay him. So it's if anything, if there's any hesitation with that, that's probably the reason why.
So Max, right now for the Mud Hens, I almost forgot the name. He had a this picture has him in a Seawolves hat. And I was like, dude, he's not on the Seawolves, man. I was like, oh, Toledo Mud Hens. But so far this year, he is batting .303. 1 home run, 11 RBIs, OPS of 821, OBP of 377. So, I mean, the dude's got so many chains as it is anyway, so he definitely has money. So I think he's good on that aspect. But do we think
you should follow him on social media, man? You should see where they did him and his wife did like their honeymoon and stuff. He's bougie, but I mean he it's just how he decides to choose his life. I will say he's still a good guy despite all of that. So, I guess if you're going to be that way, may as well still be a good person too. So
I just don't want to see Wenceel Perez playing baseball for my team on an everyday basis. Like, there's certain players, like obviously I like Zach McKinstry. Don't get me wrong, he's a fire up chips, but like I don't want him playing every single day. I don't want him playing every single day, to be completely honest with you. But anyway,
pencil. Let's get into question of the day.
Question question of the day brought to you by Salt Athletic, an official sponsor of us here at the National Soccer Network. Use promo code NSN15 to save 15% off of that number one smell-proof cleat bag. That 100% works. Scan the QR code on your screen or visit saltathletic.com today. But question of the day I got from my good friend Kyle Sandel while I was, hanging around the studio this morning. Who deserves the most blame for the Pistons being awful this offseason?
I refuse to believe that this team is just so utterly bad that or like we discovered that they're not good enough to even get out of the first round. Like the whole entire regular season was a lie. JB Bickerstaff, in my mind, is the one to blame. I know Cade has been having trouble with turnovers and he's only shooting 28% from three. He has looked like a shell of himself. I know Jalen Duren has looked like a shell of himself. But listen, I think this is a product of you haven't been willing to make the necessary changes, whether it be matchups, whether it be putting guys in the right spots. I know we can talk all the time about how, well, Cade doesn't have someone to back him up. No, he hasn't had anyone to back him up all year, and yet you were still able to grind your way out to 60 wins. JB Bickerstaff, somewhere along the line, has to be willing to take responsibility, especially if they're not able to win the night. And yeah, there's so many different players we can point at. But again, I refuse to believe that a team that went wire to wire as the number one team in the East all of a sudden forgot how to play basketball in the first round of the playoffs. Like, the lights have been too bright. And I imagine JB has to have a massive hand. If anyone's going to take blame, it's got to be JB.
I'm going to blame Trajan Langdon. And I already said that. How do you go from Tim Hardaway Jr., Dennis Schroeder, and who's the other one? Oh, well, that wasn't really his fault. Malik Beasley, it's not really his fault. But you go from having a good ball handler to THJ to, like, I think he's made the most threes this year. I still haven't fact-checked myself on that, so I probably should do that. And Dennis Schroeder, who is a proven point guard. And we replace those three players with Karis LeVert, Duncan Robinson, and Danius Jenkins. You're telling me you're telling me you were okay with that at the beginning of the year? You were telling me you're okay with that? No. That is awful. That is a massive downgrade. And that the fact you did not go add at the trade deadline, whether that was a Trey Murphy or that was a Michael Porter Jr. And if I have to hear, I was mad that maybe we had to give up Ron Holland or like a couple first-round picks. Ron Holland does absolutely nothing for this basketball team, and first-round picks have no value in the NBA unless you're picking in the lottery, because the lottery picks, you're picking some really good players. But outside of the lottery, there is no reason to like use your first-round pick if you're a contending NBA franchise. There is absolutely nothing. And he did not address any needs at the trade deadline. We got worse at this offseason. I mean, we didn't have to draft anyone this year besides Chaz Lanier, who he's a three-point shooter, so like that's probably better than anything we have on this roster in terms of three-point shooting. But there is absolutely nothing. We did not get better from a year ago, it feels like, because what are we doing in the playoffs? Absolutely nothing. And it baffles me still to this day for how well we played last year in the playoffs. Like, I thought to myself, dude, for being honest, we're like maybe some experience away and like maybe a better player than like Tim Hardaway away from being like real contenders. And we got worse. We're going to lose as the 1 seed in 5 games to an 8 seed who gives up 31-0 runs to Toronto. Shout out Scotty Barnes.
In my NBA 2K26 franchise, I dealt Kevin Huerter and Tobias Harris, and I got Zach LaVine and Keegan Murray, and we're doing pretty good, man. Keegan Murray added a lot of depth down low, and obviously Zach LaVine's a playmaker, so it's a good little dynamic duo going on there. So come on, Trey.
Do you have injuries off though? Do you have injuries off?
No, they're on, but he hasn't gotten hurt yet. So, I mean, who knows? But no, injuries are definitely on. But no, it's it feels like it definitely does for the Pistons fans that are watching this. It has the feeling of like a crash that you knew was coming. You just didn't know when it was going to happen. And to be completely fair, I mean, we weren't even having conversations on the show about them winning an NBA championship. That wasn't even a part of the
We just
vernacular.
thought maybe win a game, win a round or two. I mean,
Right,
damn.
which is like, why is that our expectation for a number 1 seed? Like, why is that where we are?
It was like just make the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, clearly Trajan Langdon has an inflated view of what this team was going into the playoffs versus everybody else in the peanut gallery, who is all, again, you and me and everyone else and their grandmother all clamoring the same thing, which is, again, Cade needs help. You know, our superstar needs another guy. And Jalen Duren, again, and I kind of feel for Jalen Duren a little bit because he's being asked to do things that he just simply can't do. Like if Jalen Duren's
go
at his
draft
best,
a Dimara, screw it. Go trade up for a Dimara. Go get a big
Duren
that
at his
can
best
move.
is a rebounder and a shot blocker, and that's what he is. You know, but if you expect him to step out and close out on stretch bigs, it's not going to happen. You get him into open space, it's over. So yeah,
we got a couple of minutes here, and I just want to go over the Pistons numbers. We'll probably go more in depth about all this situation. I know I did buy, sell Arsenal players last week. Maybe we do like keep or get rid of Piston players tomorrow if they lose. But so Cade Cunningham, obviously you're going to keep. Tobias, you should probably let walk because I ain't paying you $26 million at the age of 34. Kevin Huerter, $18 million. No. Who gave you that to begin with? The Hawks? I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
Duncan Robinson's got some team options. He has a team option this year and the next year. So he goes down from basically $17 million to he loses $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
I think you let walk to begin with, personally. Beef Stew, $15 million. Oh, there's another thing that annoyed me. Beef Stew, everyone talked about last year. You know, if we had Beef Stew in the playoffs, we would have won. We would have won that round. Clearly, he's a non-factor this year. So Beef Stew, $15 million. Karis LeVert, $14 million. Doesn't look like he has a team option next year, but that's the last year of his contract. Asar Thompson, you'll have to make a decision on him. Ron Holland, you're still fine in terms of paying. JD is a guy you gotta work out. Paul Reed, $5 million. Danish Jenkins, $4 million. Marcus Sasser, I don't know, man. There's just some decisions where it's like, blow it up. Personally, it's me though.
But do we want to blow it up again? You know,
I think I have a different definition of blowing it up, I guess. Like, there's certain players on this team where it's like, Karis LeVert, I'm letting walk. Or Duncan Robinson, I probably will let walk. Kevin Huerter, I'd probably let walk. Tobias, I'd let. What's this upcoming free agency class? Upcoming NBA free agents. Man, I did not expect to really talk about this. What's the upcoming free agents? Doesn't really look like anyone that's good.
LeBron James.
Yeah, no. But okay. Yeah, we'll figure it out more tomorrow, but
yeah.
All right.
We will talk in length. Let's all cross our fingers and pray that they can get the job done tonight. But that will wrap things up here for 278. As always, you know the drill. National Soccer Network as well as Sports Nation at Sports with a Z on social media. Until we talk to you guys tomorrow, bright and early 9 a.m. This has been Inside the Game.
From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wenger bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer. This is Inside the Game.